Hey everybody, it's Clayton coming back with another new episode. This episode I'm really going to focus on, sadly, a lot of negative news that's come out recently, but I'm going to end it with two positive notes. One is positive for the future and the outcome of something that may change, and one is just positive overall when it comes to my portfolio and probably other portfolios as well. But let's just dive right into this thing. So before I start, though, I want to say thank you to everyone that has watched my videos, and if you like my content, please feel free to subscribe and like this video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, reaching new people. Really, I just like to say it at the start, but thank you guys for clicking in and watching. So let's get into the negative news, sadly. First thing I want to touch on right now, obviously, is my portfolio hasn't changed much. The gains are about the same. Dividends are up some, but we're basically in the same boat. Nothing's really changed dramatically. So I'm not really going to delve into my portfolio too much. I've done it in previous episodes if you guys want to see it. So that's where the portfolio stands. I really want to focus on the news this week. First thing, as of today, the Labor Department said, as we all had seen and predicted, and basically have seen through the weeks, that officially the economy shed more than 20.5 million jobs in April, setting the unemployment rate to 14.7%, which we haven't seen since the Great Depression. Unfortunately, this isn't anything that really surprises anybody. It's news that we kind of expected and thought was coming. Or not even thought was coming, saw coming. And it's just unfortunate that it's here. We'll see what the future holds. Obviously, as medicine comes out and as everything changes, we'll be getting better off. But right now, that's the thing with the market that really throws a lot of people off, is with as bad as it's been going, how has the market turned itself around? And I know everyone will tell you that the market is forward looking, but right now there is no in my opinion based only, as I say with everything. I'm not a financial advisor, but what is the positive outlook that anyone sees? Yes, we're reopening in states. They're becoming more lax when it comes to the laws and letting things kind of open up as they will, but there's no signs right now to show that the economy is going to bounce itself back to where it was or even remotely come back. There's no signs to show that there won't be a rebound of this situation. So the government propping up the market has really helped it kind of stabilize right now. Where the future might go, I don't know. I personally, and I think I've said this before, think it's due to fall again. I hope it doesn't. I don't want to ever see people lose money. But as a long-term investor, if it falls again, that just makes another opportunity for me to pick up more shares and things like that. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. The main thing I wanted to touch on, though, with this, and as we were kind of talking about, was with this loss of employment, it's not shocking to see more and more companies starting to cut their dividends. Luckily for my portfolio, I've been pretty good. There've only been, I think I'm at 4 and 3 now that have cut, possibly, yeah, 3 off the top of my head. And there's a subreddit or a post on Reddit under our dividends that I'm going to put in the comment in the description below for anyone to check out. And it's essentially a real-time update of every company that cuts their dividends or reduces them or completely suspends them. And it's a really good little, I would bookmark it if you're a dividend investor. It's a good thing to track. It's only following those that cut it due to the coronavirus. But yeah, to me, it's a great little resource. But I talk about this specifically because one of the big boys in my portfolio that many of you probably either have or have looked at that are watching this channel is Disney. Disney, unfortunately, has suspended their dividends for the first quarter. I do expect them to bring it back. It's just more of a, with what they've lost, it was expected more than anything else. So I have a video pulled up that I really want to show, and it kind of explains it into more detail to really represent what happened and what's going on.
That's right. Disney CFO Christine McCarthy just announcing that Disney will be suspending the payment of its dividend in the first half of the year, which they say will preserve around $1.6 billion in cash. Now, this comes as the company announces that COVID-19 cost Disney $1.4 billion to its bottom line in the quarter. That includes a hit to advertising, movie delays, and of course, most of all, the closure of Disney's parks. Now, the Disney parks alone had an operating income loss of $1 billion in the quarter due to COVID, driving a 58% drop in operating income. Now, here's what the new CEO, Bob Chapek, says about the plan that he just announced to reopen Disney Shanghai on May 11th. Take a listen.
The approach we take may include implementation of guest capacity and density control measures, as well as health and prevention procedures that comply with state and federal guidelines. We are seeing encouraging signs of a gradual return to some semblance of normalcy in China.
The company talking about how before it began to close its domestic parks in mid-March, they had been seeing an increase in both guest attendance and guest spending. A lot of talk about how the Disney brand is strong, and they do believe that people will return both to parks and to theaters once things open up again. But certainly a dramatic hit from the impact of COVID. Back over to you.
Any mention yet so far on the conference call, Julia, about strategic investments and other cost cuts?
Well, strategic investments in terms of where they're making their bets right now, Melissa, they're talking a lot about the focus on streaming, the better than expected growth of Disney Plus, the success of their investment in original content for Hulu, and then of course the odd man out there in the streaming department is ESPN Plus, because there hasn't been any live sports for weeks and weeks now, though they did point to that Michael Jordan documentary and the success they found there, releasing that documentary early. But right now, it really seems like the bright spot is Disney Plus, which is certainly in investment mode right now.
Right. Julia, thank you. Julia Borston, unfortunate.
So, as you heard her mention, Disney's very anxious about people wanting to go back to the parks as soon as it opens. And obviously Disney cutting their dividend is, I would say, surprising to some, but with as much money as you've just seen that they have lost from the parks being closed, plus movies, and as they mentioned, the acquisition of ESPN Plus, there's a lot of money they've lost that will be coming back to them. And I wanted to touch on just some things as somebody that enjoys Disney. We'll see, like here's a photo that was released, let me pull it up, of some of the locations at Shanghai Disney on the 6 feet apart rule that they're going to be putting into place. Or everywhere you see a square, you cannot stand in there, and it keeps the distance. I'm assuming they've measured it out both ways. It looks like they have 6 feet, and this is going into the park. I would assume, obviously, once you get into the park, it's going to be similar. Also, besides that, they're also going to be doing differences with their meet and greets with the characters. Obviously, they don't want you on top of the characters anymore. So what they're going to be doing, WDW News releases, is they're going to essentially be having where you can meet and greet characters, where the characters will be on the castle, they'll be up high, they'll be waving at you. You can take pictures from afar, which obviously takes away some of the magic for people because you don't get to physically meet the characters. But they are finding workarounds when it comes to characters and how they're going to do the park. But as you heard in the video, the main thing she said was that people are they're expecting people to be ready to go back to the parks. Well, Shanghai announced that they're going to be opening up on Monday, May 11th. And right here, as you can see in this article, didn't seem the Chinese consumers were very afraid to go to the parks because as of Monday's reopening, they sold out the tickets basically it took 4 hours for the entire capacity. It's only 30% of capacity that they're running at, but it took 4 hours for them to sell out the tickets. So this is a positive sign for things to come because Disney likely will turn it around. Obviously, they're not going to, in my opinion, get back to where they were. It's going to take some time. A lot of people that aren't avid Disney fans will not be jumping at the gun to go to Disney. But I think once they start to slowly reopen, they're going to see a lot of guest attendance. Now, this very well could be a problem because now you're going to run into a lot of people in one area. Are they going to follow the mask procedures? Are they going to follow what's being put in the guidelines? We'll see how it will be enforced. Obviously, Shanghai is completely different than we are here in Orlando or over in California or any of the other Disney locations. Here in Orlando, they're opening up the Disney Springs location May 20th. And for those who don't know what that is, it's essentially their restaurant and shopping store. It used to be known as Downtown Disney. It's just a big area where you can go shopping, essentially. You got restaurants, and it's a nice little area to wind down. But that opens up May 20th. So we'll see. It's only partially opening as well. It's the third-party companies, but it's a start for Disney. So though they cut their dividends, though the stock is low, I'm curious to see how long it takes Disney to bounce back because it already looks like people are ready to go and get back into this. And I've seen it on many Facebook groups too, that they're just ready to jump in. They don't even care anymore. They want to get out of the house. Now, is that a minority compared to the majority? Very possibly. You always tend to hear minority voices over the majority, but we'll see. And to end this video, I wanted to end it on kind of a positive note. As you've seen, a lot of companies are cutting their dividends, suspending their dividends, stocks are going down. But one company, the one I'm speaking of specifically is one that I hold, that I picked up recently, and that is Pepsi. Pepsi declared over on May 5th, so that was on, Tuesday, that they will be raising their dividends by 7%, they're increasing them. And that for anyone that's been investing during this time, I want to focus on this directly because they're not the only company raising their dividends right now. Yes, the market is in a place that it's never been, especially when it comes to the economy. And a lot of companies are cutting their dividends. You saw by the link that I'm putting in the description below from the Reddit page. But it doesn't mean every company is squandering or failing. You really need to do your research when it comes to stocks you're going to pick up, what interests you, why you like these stocks. Johnson & Johnson's another one that I think will be more than okay once this is over with. And there's many stocks like that. Coke, I think, is also one. Pepsi, as you've seen, they're raising their dividends. But I kind of just want, that's how I want to end this video, with a positive note. So as anyone that's been an investor knows that you're going to go through a rough time right now, but don't panic, don't freak out. Not every stock is going to take a hit. Not everything's going to be a loss. If you've done the research and you've gone into these companies knowing before any of this had even happened, you felt comfortable with these companies, just keep your head up. Things are going to turn themselves around for most of these. There are some that are going to suffer. Restaurants are going to have some problems, movie theaters. But in the end, with anything you're picking up, even now going forward, just make sure you do the research. Make sure you are completely comfortable and understand what you're investing in. And past that, I appreciate everybody watching. As I said in the beginning of the video, if you liked the video, please subscribe. Feel free to drop a like. It really helps the algorithm, helps me reach more people. I really appreciate you guys watching this. Wow, I'm stumbling. And since I was talking about Disney so much today, let's end this on a little bit of a Disney note. So thank y'all. Have a good rest of your day. And y'all come back now. You hear?